Well, welcome back to Gardener's Cottage here in Blakeney on the Norfolk coast. We're starting this little tour of the garden in the rear courtyard of the garden that this morning is just a complete sun trap. And just look at the volume of flower, both finished and still to come on, that we've got on this Maygold. Enjoying the southern aspect here in the courtyard garden at Gardener's. In the rear garden, this Montana alba, which rambles its way up through an old plum tree that's planted actually on the other side of the flint wall here, probably running for around 20 or 30 feet, absolutely covered in these absolutely fantastic large pure white flowers, 4 petals, and all the central sepals opens as almost a green creamy bud to this pure white, absolutely delightful. And we've got more roses just starting into blossom, plenty of absolutely wonderfully healthy looking buds on this one. A lot of the garden here, Blakeney's enjoying the benefits of having quite a good cutback at the end of last season. Try and let a lot more light into this border. I think that's really going to benefit the amount of flower that we get in this garden over the course of the summer. I absolutely love alliums at this time of year. Such blasts of colour held so beautifully on these tall, very slender stems. And here we've got a mixture of colours in this border, the classic purples. And here, a little later, still not showing full colour and form, these whites, probably about a foot taller than the purple variety. They've done really well here despite the semi-shade that they're growing in. Look as if they're going to flower beautifully for us again this year. And a real blast of colour, really in your face at this time of year is this choice here. Combination of that gold yellow foliage with the mass white flowers really striking, and the scent of it as well. Really, absolutely beautiful. This little ceanothus really has been overgrown, but it's still giving a fair show of lovely lilac, pale sky blue powder puff flowers just held just above the surface. I think we really do need to do a plant rescue on this one if it's going to really thrive. Here, why it's in full shade, these bushes have really outgrown their space. Architecturally, they do give us a lot of structure and character in the garden, and there's a backdrop to the patio area. Really give this garden a very private feel from the surrounding buildings. I think it's time to give them a little bit of a shape this year. These are the perennial osteospermums, which again this year are doing better than they've done probably for around 5 years, because we've given the fig tree a really heavy cutback, allowed a lot more light onto the surface of these over winter, and just look at how they're rewarding us now in this full sunlight, absolutely at their best. Lavender just behind them coming on, that little perennial daisy that we brought back from Summer Leighton, really starting to colonise throughout this garden, and that will flower beautifully throughout the summer, as will these osteospermums. We've got some nice double aquilegias seeded around. This is a very pale one. On the front of the house, I'm just going to go and show you, we've managed somehow to end up with a monoculture of this beautiful dark blue, just a hint of purple in the top of this. And then behind it, at this time of year, combination with the lovely buttercup yellow cream of the Banks Lutea rose just tumbling down. Lovely combination, purely by accident. Don't know how the aquilegias have managed to select just this blue version to seed into the base of the cottage, but it works very, very well. Crab blossom now finished for the year, but later in the season we'll be rewarded with a lovely crop of rosy red crab apples, and plenty of them. But the little honeysuckle that runs through here that we've shown you already in the season's really coming into its own now. Just look at the volume of flower coming on this Dutch honeysuckle, and again in the close confines of this little lope that runs in front of the cottage. Scents absolutely beautiful. In front of me, Philadelphus about to start flowering, and the arches of Rambling Rector. Two more that are going to really give us a blast of colour and scent through the end of May and into early June.